The first day of preseason testing in Bahrain is finally done and dusted, and we've been able to learn a lot about the design of the cars that are set to fight for the championship in 2023. This season is poised to be one of the most interesting ones that has ever happened in the history of the sport, with all three of the top teams bringing a lot of upgrades in a bid to conquer the rest of the competitors in 2023. While we've been accommodated with Ferrari and Mercedes upgrades for 2023 and previous years, Red Bull has definitely held its own and hasn't revealed too much information to the world, at least not until the first test. Now, we know exactly how the RB19 looks, and the design evolution has shocked the majority of fans and experts in the sport. On a quick side note, I want to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN Services. 2022 was one of Red Bull's most dominant seasons, if not the most dominant. Sure, they had 4 consecutive championships from 2010 to 2013, but nothing tops Verstappen's season of 16 wins after not finishing in 2 of the first 3 races due to reliability issues. Furthermore, he went on to break an array of records, such as winning races from P14, P10, and P7. And it just seemed like no matter where you put the RB18, it was capable of passing the rest of the grid and winning the race in a dominant sequence. But after the team was found guilty of breaching the budget cap back in 2021, the following penalty has truly questioned whether the team has what it takes in order to keep the Primate as the best team on the grid in 2023. With 10% less time in the wind tunnels and CFD, and an additional 5% as a penalty for winning the Constructors' Championship after being P2 in 2021, many have questioned whether Red Bull can build a car that won't rely too much on these facilities. They definitely have the genius mind of Adrian Newey behind the design of the RB19, as well as every car that has exited production as of now. But with the 64-year-old mastermind not being 100% involved in the day-to-day projects of Red Bull F1, suspicions have logically started to arise. And given the fact that Red Bull didn't show too much detail to the world during the car reveal on the 3rd of February, focusing more on the engine partnership with Ford that is due to start from 2026 onward, one couldn't help but wonder, what is going on with the RB19? And the only thing F1 fans could do in this situation was wait for the first pre-testing day in Bahrain. And when it came, we were not disappointed. Red Bull couldn't hide the car anymore, and when we saw it from the first second, we knew why the team didn't want to reveal the engineering masterpiece to the world until the very last moment. Before we dive deeper into the design of the RB19, I want to thank Surfshark VPN, the sponsor for today's video. I recently came across their services, and I must say I am really impressed with their VPN services. I generally use their services to get access to movies and videos that are available in other countries, but not in the United States. But besides binging movies and series, I also use Surfshark to get access to sports services all over the world. Even my friends from the UK got hooked onto Surfshark so they can watch the F1 races on F1 TV Pro instead of needing an expensive membership from Sky Sports. A big question my friends had was whether Surfshark is easy to use. Well, I can tell you from personal experience that the Surfshark app for TV, phone, tablet, and computer makes it extremely user-friendly. Even more good news is that Surfshark has 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, meaning that you can watch even more geo-locked programs and services in different territories. Worried about Surfshark storing your data? No need to, as Surfshark does not monitor, track, or store what you do online, so you are safe to watch more of the racing guru. If you use my promo code TRG, you not only get 83% off, but also 3 extra months for free. Check my description for more details. Now, let's continue with Red Bull's innovative design for the 2023 season. The RB19 is definitely an evolution compared to its predecessor, and after the team's success in 2022, many thought that there wasn't too much that needed to be changed in the design of the car, and that taking unnecessary gambles was unnecessary. But Red Bull doesn't believe so, and when reports said that the aerodynamic aspect of the car will be at least 80% different compared to the 2022 version of the car, they truly meant it. Compared to the RB18, the RB19 has a more uniformly loaded front wing across its span, which ultimately means that the airflow that will come off the trailing edge and lead to the side pods will be more uniform as well. However, the front wings still retain the full-width slot gap between the first and second elements of the assembly, which then allows better airflow to the underside of the nose surface. The nose of the car also has a bit of a change, and this is something that we've been able to see on the SF23 as well. However, while the nose of Sainz's car has bent under air pressure, Red Bull's doesn't have these issues, as it's a little wider and flatter at the front, where it supports the second element. This could have been done for lots of reasons in advance, and some of them include the lighter structural solution for the frontal impact test and the more stable mounting for the front wing thanks to its slightly wider structure. On the other hand, some aspects of the car have remained the same as they were in 2022, such as the front suspension. The pull rod-operated inboard spring medium will remain unchanged, with the wishbone and track rod layout remaining consistent across both the front leg of the lower wishbone and track rod and the rear leg. However, the pickup angles of the wishbone have undergone a bit of change, with it now looking like Red Bull increased the top wishbone's inboard pickup angle, which is seen on the forward leg and rear leg. Red Bull was one of the only teams to take this detail to the level it did last year, and now if it can control the ride height change during braking with this geometry, it improves the consistency of the downforce the underfloor can produce. One visible change that the 2023 version of Red Bull's car has experienced is in the side pod design, as now we have a huge undercut section, a change that could relate to the fact that it needs to incorporate the cooling package. But it could also be just a simple change in how Red Bull wants to manage the airflow in that particular undercut area. Remember that the regulations have been changed for 2023, and the increased 15 millimeters of the outer sides of the floor means that teams will naturally strive for more airflow that comes in through the front suspension and goes directly into that particular undercut area to flow through into the Coke bottle section, where the bodywork comes inwards between the rear tires. Compared to the 2022 version of the car, the undercut has a slightly different profile, but volume-wise, the changes aren't that big. Even with all of the new changes, one issue that Red Bull's car experienced on the first day of pre-testing in Bahrain was too much sliding. Now, if there is one thing that we've learned from the pre-testing sessions in the past, it's that teams love to sandbag and not show the full potential of their car. That has been the primary narrative for the W13, which turned out to be the worst car that Mercedes ever produced. Helmut Marko from Red Bull spoke about this issue, and when talking about it, he feels like there is literally no need for teams to sandbag because they will come off very quickly as the teams will try to set times as quickly as possible. Furthermore, he added, "We only have 3 days. You can't do big function tests there. You have to set times as quickly as possible. It is important that you already know at the first race a week later which car setup you're going to start the weekend with, both in qualifying and in the race. However, everyone will still only let their pants down in qualifying in Bahrain, but due to the short test time, there is much less leeway than before." Now, to answer your question regarding Red Bull opting for an evolutionary design of their car and not following up on the same design that produced the RB18. Due to the rule change and the fact that the team was penalized for reducing the amount of time spent in the aerodynamic facilities, Red Bull has chosen a revolutionary design in the hope that they will not have to spend as much time in these facilities as they did with the RB18, primarily because every run in the wind tunnel will be valuable. Remember that the design itself was produced before the penalty was given, and the team has decided to keep it that way and try to make a strong impact in the first part of the season, with Ferrari and Mercedes likely to catch up later on, and we'll have a proper 3-team battle. But before clicking on the next video, don't forget to check out Surfshark and use promo code TRG to get 83% off and get 3 months free of charge, so you can watch all your favorite series and sports from all over the world. With that being said, what do you think about the design of the RB19? Do you like what you see from the Austrian team? Let us know in the comments below.